Welcome guys, and this is Discovery Africa TV. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you the previous engagement and things currently happening in Nigeria since Bola Ahmed Adekunle Tinubu became the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And like I've often said in some of my videos, although a number of Nigerians are not happy that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is our president, and so to call, they will rather have someone else to be called their president. And that's not even the subject of debate today. I have a number of things I'm going to be engaging into this video, and please do us a favor as you watch this video to subscribe to this YouTube channel. And currently in Nigeria, several Nigerians are actually voicing out their displeasure with the current administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, most especially the ongoing Nigeria Labour Congress minimum wage saga. And from the look of things, Nigeria as a country is said to be one of the most respected nations in Africa, with several resources and several opportunities that exist in the country Nigeria. And oftentimes Nigerian citizens do ask this question: why are we actually suffering when we have all of these things in our disposal? We have the resources and we have every opportunity to become a great nation. And who is to be blamed for our current predicament? Should we blame the president or blame the citizen? And while others will look at things the other way around, they begin to throw several stones on the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for his removal of oil subsidy and not creating the necessary preventive measures on the implications of removing oil subsidy. Even though the removal of oil subsidy have its own positive impact on the economy of Nigeria. Although some people call this a scam scheme because basically some Nigerians are not still sure if truly oil subsidy was removed. And engaging the current predicament in Nigeria, economic instability, unemployment, insecurity, and several things that has been happening since Bola Ahmed Tinubu became the president. Now, let me tell you, Bola Ahmed Tinubu may actually have good intention for Nigeria citizens and Nigeria as a nation. And the current things happening in Nigeria may not be what he all planned initially. And as others will call it, let's give Bola Ahmed Tinubu some time. He's going to transform Nigeria and Nigeria will become a better place. But some people at the other hand say Bola Ahmed Tinubu does not have what it takes to transform Nigeria. And all the current predicaments we are passing through would not have been what we are passing through if Peter Obi was actually declared as the winner of the 2023 presidential election. But the question now is, what if Peter Obi is the current president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Do you think all of the things currently happening will still not occur? And if it happened, will several stones not still be thrown at Peter Obi? Or will Nigerians forgive him and assume that is the first time becoming the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? So without further ado, guys, let's watch this video and drop your comments at the comment section of this video. And let me make you understand that some Nigerians out there are still saying Peter Obi is the winner of the 2023 presidential election, and they would rather not call Bola Ahmed Tinubu their president. So guys, watch and drop your comment.
Knowing how busy you are and everything, I'm not going to take a lot of your time. I'm sure whatever I'm going to say here, you've heard from different other aspirants. And we've often heard from those who are making comments about our history and our country and everything. But all of us know today that our country is passing through a very difficult phase. This used to be a great country. Today, our country is classified among the failing countries of the world. We are now among 10 of the failing countries of the world. We're now classified as one of the most terrorized countries in the world. In fact, we're number 3 or number 4 after Afghanistan, Yemen, and the way it's going, we might soon overtake them. We are the world capital of poverty. Even before the COVID, Nigeria, a country of 200 million, had more people living in poverty than the 2 biggest countries of the world combined, China and India, that is about 2.8 billion. For 200 million, we have more people living in poverty than 2 of them combined before COVID. So you can imagine what it is after COVID. We have one of the highest unemployment rates in the world today. 3%, which is the unemployment. By the time you combine the underemployment, we're about 55. And worse still, we have about 60% of these are the young ones who are the greatest assets of production and in their productive age, doing nothing. Out of school children, you're the highest in the world. Over 15 million. Forget about what anybody is telling you. Infant mortality today, we've just overtaken India, which they thought would overtake them in 5 years, and we've just overtaken them. In a stress level, we are now 148 over 152. Nigerians are stressed. Competitiveness, we're going down. Of course, you've seen perception, corruption, mesogendas, we're going down. You can go on, the list is endless. The hunger list now, we're number 98 out of 105. Nigerians have been classified as a country now where people spend over 100% of their wage, salary on feeding. It's like, you can't, and it's getting worse. And anybody who thinks it's going to get better, forget it. This is cumulative effect of leadership failure over the years. Because we're choosing not to do the right thing. And people will tell you, when they was talking about somebody who is granting loan and everything. There's nothing wrong with loan. Nothing, absolutely nothing. I'm a businessman. I'm a trader. That is my background. You live with loan. Loan is what has made nations. Every nation in the world is owing. Even Norway, they have the highest sovereign wealth fund of 1.4 trillion, is owing over 50% of their GDP in debts. So there's nothing wrong with loan. It's what you throw the loan at, what you use the loan, that makes all the difference. And I'll show you countries that have borrowed. But we have a crisis that because we're throwing away the money we're borrowing, it's not getting to a stage where we can't even service the loan. You approve it, you know the budget and everything. Last year alone, in 2021, in the first 5 months of last year, as a nation, we earned 1.1 trillion 847 billion naira. We used 1 trillion 802 to service debts, remaining 45 billion for a nation of 200 million people. It's a crisis. You approved last year budget of 13 trillion. And we are supposed to borrow 4 trillion. In the end, we borrowed about 6.7. In the end. This year, you approved a budget of 17 trillion, which the government said they're going to generate a revenue of over 10 trillion. From where? So you're going to borrow another thing. In a short while, we will not be using 98% of our revenue to service debt. We will need to borrow, which is what we're doing now, to service debt. And you're not generating revenue. And you often hear government people say, we don't have a borrowing problem. We have a revenue problem. You can't generate revenue when your people are poor. You're not going to tax poor people who are in the village doing nothing. Revenue is the function of productivity. The country is not productive. So you can't generate money. For me, my appeal is that 2023 is not about making the next person president or anything. It is about all of us fighting for our future. You're on top of the ladder. If this country collapses today, it will affect you more than it will affect those who will think that I belong. And it's collapsing. None of you can live here and go anywhere and be street sweepers. You can't. So we need to defend it. We need to do it. It happened to other nations. Other nations have removed their country from consumption to production. It's happened everywhere. Pulling people out of poverty has happened everywhere. I've been to at least over 30 countries that have pulled their people out of poverty. I just came back from Morocco. And I told Okube an interesting news this evening. I said, let me tell you, here, people spend dollar. Then I went to Morocco. I came back on Friday. I bought BTA. They put it in my card. And I got to Morocco and said, I want $1 cash for. They said, no, you use our currency. I was just telling him, no other country does that. Where you spend another person's country in your own country. That shows the erosion of trust of your own economy. And I was telling him, say, you can't do it. I've been going to China, I've been everywhere. This country was a signatory to MDG in year 2000. China was a signatory to MDG. In 15 years, they put 435 million people out of poverty. China in 1990 had 95% of their population living under poverty. Today they have less than 2%. So is Vietnam. They had about 90-something% living in poverty. Today they have 1.6. So is Bangladesh. They're going down. We talked about loan. Approve the loan. But what is the loan being used for? I was in Bangladesh in 2010. And I studied what they used to borrow money and everything. Bangladesh, as 2010, had a debt. The economy then was $115 billion with a debt of $45 billion, which is 36% of their debt. Their per capita was just about $708, about $700 in 2010. As at that time, Nigerian GDP was 375. Our per capita was $2,250. And our debt then was under $8 billion. Today, we were owing about the same thing. Today, our debts have moved, where our debts are now $100 billion. Our GDP is 400. Our per capita is now 2,000. So in the past 10 years, we've lost 10% of our per capita. And we've borrowed about 7 to 10 times the amount we were owing then. So something is wrong. We threw away the money. It wasn't invested. It's not productive. It didn't help anybody. Bangladesh, today, have moved to a GDP of $335 billion with a per capita of $2,050. So they have moved 3 times their per capita. It's getting better. They're pulling people out of poverty. Go and check what they've been able to do over these years. And that's what I'm just pleading with you. Can we build a better Nigeria? It's not about politics. It's not about who becomes president or who becomes governor, who becomes this. We can make this country better. It can work. I'm a private businessman. You can check my background as a trader. I've been in the corporate world. I've been a chairman and director of several quoted companies in Nigeria. I've been a governor.
I have been sick of this problem. I have been sick of this controversy over living wage or minimum wage. And I believe that something is seriously wrong with the heads of many of our leaders. How can anyone who earns 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, not to talk of people who earn 1 million, 2 million, how can they go to sleep in good conscience every day? How can they go to sleep in good conscience and come out to sit down in a boardroom to discuss the sustainability or otherwise of paying 60,000 to the poorest of workers? How can we go to bed and sleep, all those who belong to the elite, who earn 2, 3, 4, 500,000, 1 million? How can you go to sleep in good conscience, I say, if you still have any conscience? How can you go to sleep in good conscience and come out to be debating? I hear people on TV, I watch people on TV, experts, economic experts, corporate executives, government officials, who are taking home more than $1 million in a month. And they are there arguing that 60,000 or over will destroy the economy. It's not sustainable. How wicked! You give 60,000 to a poor worker, a poor worker who may have a family of 2 or 3 or 4, for his feeding, for his accommodation, for his house rent, for his medical care, for his children's school fees. How wicked! How blind! How can we do that? And we think that God will bless our country. We think that it is by bringing a new national anthem for God to bless our country. How can you commit this crime against humanity? For me, this is a crime against humanity. Because the poor people who cannot afford to buy gari, I'm not saying they will buy that they are to buy sardine. I'm saying buy gari, poor people who cannot buy gari. I'm not talking of meat or fish. Poor people are dying because they have no money to cure malaria. How can you go to sleep in good conscience? Those of us who belong to the elite, how can we go to sleep with good conscience and we are debating and we are discussing and we vote 500 million naira to meet and debate about paying 60,000 to the poor? My dear friends, I see this as a new form of apartheid. Nigeria is one of the most unequal societies in the entire world. A society where it's like the animal farm. A society where we have conspicuously rich people, people who are living in conspicuous consumption, and others who are in deplorable, dehumanizing poverty. If you have somebody in this country that takes home 1 million naira, I mean 1 million, I'm not talking of 30 million naira, 1 million naira in the month, and he can open his mouth to be part of a discussion about the poor getting 60,000 naira. I say anyone who earns up to 1 million naira in the month should keep his or her mouth shut when he hears them debating about taking 60,000 for the poor. More than 60 years after independence, we are running an apartheid society. This time it's not racial apartheid, it's economic apartheid. We are running an apartheid society of people of conspicuous consumption, flying in private jets around at government expense, people who are riding 4, 5, 6, 7 SUVs with pilot vehicles, chasing the poor out of the road, and poor people, you are debating, you are discussing, you are over 60,000 for the poor. You insult the poor by saying 30,000, and later you say 48,000, and now you say 60,000, and you pay more than 60,000, you come out with 62,000. You insult poor Nigerians. I say there is hardly any society I know that is as divided as the Nigerian society. And a society that is so divided is just sitting on a keg of gunpowder. I have warned here before that the revenge of the poor is at the corner. The revenge of the poor is at the corner. I am not calling for it, but it will happen as night follows the day. Because when you so reduce people, you reduce people to this dehumanizing level. Nature does not allow a situation of islands of affluence amidst a sea of poverty. Nature does not allow it. And let me warn those in the elite. Let me warn those in the tripartite committee of government. Let me warn that it is in the course of nature that when a predator continues to devour the very resources that the predator needs for his own sustenance, nature will take out the predator in order to have equilibrium, in order to have a measure of equilibrium. Nature is about balance, you know. All of nature is about balance. And human beings are part of nature. And Nigerians are part of nature. If the predator who needs the animals in the kingdom, it needs the animals to survive, if it is recklessly devouring the very animals it needs for its own survival, if it is devouring it recklessly and senselessly, nature will step in and remove the predator so that there can be balance in the system, in the ecosystem. Let me warn that all those who are in government, I hear, I have not confirmed, that there are people taking home almost 30 million naira in the month. And you have the guts and you have the temerity to sit down, and your conscience allows you to sit down to discuss about 60,000 naira for poor worker for the whole month, and you are the one that has all the opportunities of Esther code and all kinds of perquisites of office. You sit down to discuss about 60,000, and that is all that the person will have in the month. You sit down to discuss this and come out and say, this is not sustainable. How is 30 million naira sustainable in that economy? How is it sustainable that the leader has 100 SUVs going with him to the airport? How is it sustainable? How is it sustainable that government leaders junket around the world? How is that sustainable? I say we are committing a crime against humanity. And if we do not repent and retrace our steps immediately, the revenge of the poor is at the corner. Do not hold me responsible, because while the devastation was on, I did not keep quiet. Do not hold me responsible, because while the madness was on, I did not sit on the fence. I kept on shouting that the revenge of the poor is at the corner unless we change our course. And if we do not change our course, we will end up where we are headed. And where we are headed is devastation, is destruction, is violent revolution.